Well, it seems like people have mixed feelings on challenge maps. I think you and me sort of fall in that category a little bit. I mean, a lot of them are a mixed bag, and some of them are fantastic.
Yeah, we go back and forth. There are some that I really, really like, and others that are like, I didn't need that, you know? It just goes back and forth.
Well, that's the fun thing is today we are taking a look at 5 that we think were just awesome as far as Predator challenge maps. These are the 5 best, in our opinion, in the series. We tried to include a little bit of a mix from every game and sort of look fairly at them versus just nostalgia. But I will say the first one we start out with is partially nostalgia-based.
It's a bit
and you
nostalgic.
can't escape it.
No.
And that is Silent Night from Batman Arkham Asylum.
It's fantastic because you're going around the medical facility, and at that point you're hearing Joker in the background kind of giving instructions and guiding the henchmen around, giving commentary about what's going on. And I don't know, for me it was my favorite Predator map in Asylum.
Yep.
And I really just honed in on that map, and you can do it really quickly too. I think in that one, if I remember correctly, if you look at some of the high scores, people were doing that in like 15 seconds. I think was one of the high scores. So it's one of those crazy things that you can get 3 bat symbols very quickly. Yeah. It's fun if you do the right thing, and
you can kind of just like extend it too and mess around on it as well if you want to. I mean, it's a fairly forgiving map, and there's the extreme version of it too, which I think it's really the same map. It's just harder.
Exactly. Yeah.
So there's a lot going on there, and it's so fun, and it's like such a cool part of the Asylum. And you have things like Killer Croc's cell down there.
Yes.
You know, the original Killer Croc cell, which you can go by. There's a lot packed into such a small area.
It really is, yeah. And it's like I said, it was quick paced,
claustrophobic,
and claustrophobic, which is the whole vibe of the Asylum. So I think it kind of captures the vibe of the entire game in that little map. So
that's fantastic. All right, the next one we have is actually from, I mean, it's a challenge map from Arkham City, but it's right near the end of the story itself. The first time you go here. That's the very top of Wonder Tower, which is top of the world. It really plays into the whole Hugo Strange story. It's super fun. There's a lot of stuff you can do. I don't know if you've ever seen this, but you can technically grab the enemies, pull them up onto a gargoyle, and then launch them off the side.
And just watch them fall all the way down?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know if I'll be able to do that in the footage or if it'll just be, footage of the map. But it's like a cool, fun little thing. I mean, you become the BVS Batman as a cosplay.
Just slaughtering henchmen.
Yeah, there's a lot of fun stuff here, though, too. There's the vents that you can go through, obviously, that lead outside. You can sort of take as a path. There's gargoyles along the outside. When you get inside, though, there is that element of claustrophobia again, because there's not a lot of places you get to go. I mean, the middle is all blocked off. You have sort of a circle that you can work in and not a lot of room to maneuver it.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Well, the one thing that I liked about it, I remember when I was playing it for the first time, was you'd go up on top of where Hugo Strange would be walking around, and that would be kind of like your safe spot, where you go up there and then just try to patrol. But then you could also go outside, go on top of those gargoyles, and see the entirety of the city, which was great. So you'd go out, you can see the entirety of the city, you can see and walk around and go around the entire edge. You're at the highest point in Arkham City. And it was a really fun like map design too. Just everything about it. There were the vents that you talked about. You could really do any kind of takedown in that map. And I know like on the extreme version too, there was
that was so hard.
Oh, it was probably one of the hardest ones, and you had to put like, there were mines that you had to detonate right, and there was like the fire extinguisher you had to get correctly and like get someone in that. So there was every kind of takedown in it, and it was a great view, I guess, but it was also just a really cool environment. I really liked Top of the World.
It definitely was. Yeah, I think it's really fantastic, and it's sort of partially the cream of the crop that you can have in Batman Arkham City.
For sure.
So the next one we have is from Batman Arkham Origins. It's one that we love, Breaking In.
Breaking In was great. You're in the GCPD, and I believe you're taking down cops, actually, aren't you, throughout? Is that what's going on? So it's a completely different vibe as far as who you're taking out. And I love the Origins combat. I think we both thought it was important to include Origins. For me, it's that really cool thing where you can grab guys and connect them with like the gun. You can connect a rope to the gargoyles. You know what I mean? You can like, connect them together and mess them up like that. So
the remote claw.
Yeah, that's what it was.
It's really fun. It's broken because like it's OP.
Oh yeah.
It's like really OP, and you can tell why it didn't come back in something like Night. But it's fun.
It's really fun.
And I think that was sort of the point of that game in a lot of ways, was just to like capitalize on the fun of Arkham and sort of like, a fan favorite mashup in a lot of ways with things like the Joker and some of the more obscure villains. It was almost, I always think of it as a little bit of a celebration celebration of Batman stuff. It's just a shame that it didn't come together better at launch, but like playing it now, especially on PC, it's like this is one of the best challenge maps in the entire game. You have floor grates to work with, you have all of those gargoyle points on the inside vantage points, which aren't really gargoyles in this one. You have like the signal jammers in there on the wall that you can mess with.
Yes. Yep.
There's a lot in there to do, and like it really does make it feel alive, and like you're just sneaking around GCPD, which is really cool.
The environment, I think, is what really puts it over the top.
Yeah.
Is being inside GCPD and you're taking out cops. That's a crazy thing that you really don't see in any other game in the Arkham franchise. So
No.
it's a really interesting environment and something that is extremely unique to that challenge map. So
Yeah. I think this next one was between Wayne Manor for us and the one we chose.
Yes.
Because we both love Wayne Manor, but I think we both think the Batcave is a better map in a lot of ways.
I would agree. And it's in both city and night.
Yes.
So you see them in both. And I love the Batcave. In personally city, I like it a little bit more.
Yeah.
I like the environment. I just like how high tech it feels and how everything in there compared to what you're doing in city, which obviously Batman's got his gadgets and everything. But you get in there, there's obviously the nostalgia. There's like cool things. I think there's a T-Rex in there.
Yeah, there
if
is
I'm
the
not mistaken.
T-Rex. There's like some, mementos. The Batmobile, I believe, is in there.
Yes, yeah.
There's a lot.
There's a bunch of really cool things in there. So you're kind of just exploring and not really focused on taking out thugs necessarily, which there's obviously multiple ways to do that as well that are offered from the map. But you go around, you're more so just like exploring and enjoying something that you don't really see in the game. In either city or night, you're not able to go in like you are in Origins and explore a high-tech Batcave. So it was just a nice bit of fan service, I feel like. That was one of my favorite things to do. And it was similar with Wayne Manor too, but the Batcave, I think, was a little bit better for me.
Yeah, and there's a lot of different paths you can take. There's a lot of ledges. You can knock enemies off, so you have sort of like a stylistic choice there. You can pull them up to vantage points again. You can do the grates, obviously. There's sort of a network of grates through the Batcave. There's a lot there. Even the T-Rex works as a distraction. So it's interactive. There's a lot to do, and you have that history built into the map, which is really cool. Connects well with the character, connects well with the setting. It just sort of makes you feel like you're there. And I think if nothing else, this shows sort of what a fully realized Batcave could be. I mean, like beyond what we got in Origins. Like, it would be so cool to eventually have a hub like this that you can go back to and explore.
It feels almost necessary for the next one, you know what I mean? Because with Origins, it was cool, but it felt bare bones a little bit. In there, which it was really, I loved it. It was one of my favorite parts of the game.
Same.
But you could definitely up the ante on a Batcave and have something where it was based off of a challenge map like this, or had like the same vibe, where it's just very high tech. And there's a ton of cool mementos and trophies in there.
So the final one we have, and I think you and I debated a little bit on whether this is the best or not. I think it is. I agree with you that this concept in a different map could have been even better. Like, I like this map a lot, but that's Endless Night. And it's so cool because you can sort of just go around, like it says, endlessly, and just take people out. It's time-based. It gets harder and harder because they'll start mining vantage points. You obviously only have a certain amount of, the disruptor for the mines that you have to wait for that to come back.
Big guys will start showing up.
Yeah, big guys start showing up. You have to decide whether or not you want to blow up mines on the ground, like with the big guys, or you want to take them out on the vantage points. There's also issues with like the big guys where you can't just go down and beat them down because there might be like 15 guys walking around. So it's like that's a death sentence if you just decide to do that.
And you're timed, so you have to keep going.
Yeah. It's great. And like they sort of like they allow this give and take. Do I like wait 10 seconds for the map to change a little bit, or do I risk it to get that, time boost? Like, what do I do with this? And sort of like it sort of becomes like a banking system in a way, like not like in Joker's Carnival where you can like bank the points, but where you're thinking like of your points and time as a resource. Like, okay, well, like I have 2 minutes. How do I spend it? And like that's pretty cool. That's not something that happens in these other maps because really time doesn't matter at all unless it matters as a Bat Emblem, which it almost really never has.
It never does. It's mostly high scores for the most part is what you're going for.
Yeah, so if you don't care about that aspect, time has never mattered. You could take 15 seconds to do a map, you could take 15 minutes. And this makes time feel like it actually matters. It makes you feel like you are Batman swooping in and taking everybody out. And you can do it in your own style because there are no Bat emblems other than score. So it's like, okay, how do I want to deal with the situation versus I have to do it the way the game tells me to do it.
Yeah, it's such a unique map compared to what you're used to with an Arkham Challenge map. Because your goal is mostly, it's almost combat vibey in that you're trying to get a high score. You're just trying to get your score as high as humanly possible and keep your time up there as well. And so it's a very unique take. In the map, I don't hate it by any means. I think it's great. But like you said, I think it could have been, if it was a different map, I think it would have blown me away even more. But I do really like that map in that you're still at a very high vantage point. It's a giant map. There's a lot going on there to do. It's kind of like in like a train station, kind of what it looks like. So there's a lot going on there, and there's a million different ways to take guys out. There's I think 3 different levels that you can go up to escape to or take guys out from. So there's the map itself is very deep and layered.
I will say, I think the main problem with this map that I think you're getting at too, by the way, is that this concept somewhere else too would have been mind-blowing. Don't you think?
Oh,
like if you had taken this, right, and you had made it a mode, so you could do this on any map, how mind-blowing would that be?
Oh my gosh. Even trying it on like the Batcave or something. You know what I mean? Or something where it was like a map that you find your favorite map and just do Endless Night on that. You know, because everyone's got their own map that they love, that their favorite, that they do really well at. And if you were able to take that, like you said, and just put it and slap it on something and like, all right, I'm going to do Endless Night on this. That's a really good idea. I think that'd be really fun because it just opens up possibilities and it changes the way that you play the game too. Because instead of like, hey, I need to get these 3 emblems and it doesn't matter how long it takes, I just need to make sure I get these 3 emblems and then I win. That's it. Where this, it's like, you're not worried about emblems. Just take guys out the best you can as long as you can.
Yeah.
And that could go as long as you want it to go. If
you want to play for 2 hours, you can. If you want to play for 20 minutes, you can.
Just stop playing and you get the high score still. So I think that would have been really cool. But nonetheless, I think it deserves to be on top because it's such a fun, interesting idea for a challenge map, for a Predator map.
I think we're gonna have a hard time looking at the bad ones, you know, because I mean there are some, but like a lot of even the worst challenge maps are usually still fun. Oh yeah, that'll be tough. Hey, let us know in the comments below what you think. What were your favorite challenge maps in the Batman Arkham series in terms of Predator? You can certainly let us know your least favorite as well and why that's the case. We always like to hear why you think what you think. It's awesome to hear. Hey, by the way, I do a bad job of promoting these things, so in the description, I have linked my Twitter, my Instagram, we have a Reddit now, and I have a Patreon set up. You know, if you're interested in that, please check it out. Otherwise, I appreciate your time. Thanks for checking it out, and we'll see you next time.